Part 34. The Strongest Assassin in the Server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 331. Yuchen went down the mountain to find old man Kinji. After handing over the wind god bag, he retrieved two ship-shaped bases. Of course, these two bases already have dense fog formations embedded in them. Boss. The demon army is attacking. There are about 100,000 people in total. They are divided into 10 troops and march towards our 10 bases respectively. Number 1 base determines the opponent, Black Dragon. Base 2, Brother Ikkyu. Base 3, B.A. Tien. Base 4 collapsed. Base 5, Forbidden Fruit. Base 6, You Monster. Base 7, Ao Wushuan. Base 8, Yuman. Base 9, The Sound of Rain. Base 10, Grey Wolf. For a moment, the Throne Guild channel erupted into loud roars from the group leaders. The demon is so ambitious, he actually wants to destroy our guild in one fell swoop. Uncle Soy Sauce said, currently we only have 60,000 troops, divided into 10 units to fight. We are at a disadvantage in terms of strength, and we need the morale and hard power of the leader to make up for it. I will take the lead, and leave base number 1 to me. Led by Uncle Soy Sauce, the main members of the throne took the lead one after another. Old Duck, base 2. Tank, base 3. Fire Dance, base 4. Lan, base 5. Big Fried Chicken, base 7. After being assigned to base number 7, the guild channel fell into a brief silence. Uncle Soy Sauce took a deep breath and said, "What else is there? Give the demon of base number 6 to the boss. There are still 3 bases left. No one dares to take the responsibility. Already." No matter how much Uncle Soy Sauce tried to motivate and encourage, the guild channel remained silent. After all, no one expected that the demon army could gather an army of 100,000. They originally thought that 80,000 was the limit. From this point of view, they still underestimated the demon. As for 6,000 hits, the difficulty can be imagined, let alone defense. You know, in the early stages of the game when the player level is low, the guild base is like an iron wall, indestructible. At that time, defense has the advantage. After all, the dead can be resurrected to fight again. But now, low-level guild bases are nothing at all and will be destroyed easily. The difficulty of such defense has been infinitely increased. Because of this, if someone wants to take the lead, they must first weigh their own weight. Can they really carry it? In fact, in addition to Yechen, Uncle Soy Sauce, Tank, Huowu, Lao Ya, Lan, and Big Fried Chicken, there are also second-tier main players. Xiaoro, Monkey, Fatty, Bao Bao, Yufeng, Shen Kaijin, and even the musketeers Wueming and Xinjiao. But the strength and courage of these people are not enough to take the lead now. Silence, depression, and strong tension paralyzed the nerves, causing fear to rise in the hearts of everyone in the throne room. The predecessor of the throne, the God Killer, had already failed once, and this time no one was allowed to fail. As for Team 10, it was just the first round. Until now, there are only 7 people holding the throne. And among these 7 people, Yechen is the only one that everyone truly believes in. Along the way, Yechen has created too many miracles, and his powerful strength is also heartbreaking. Even if the opponent is a demon, they will still choose to believe it. But Yechen couldn't cover the sky with one hand. In the first round, even if he won, he wouldn't be able to gain an overall advantage. In the first round, the more detachments that failed in throne, the greater the advantage of the demon army will be, and the two will overlap. The second round, the third round, until the end, the demon army of 100,000 will point its sword at the last base of the throne. At that time, it will not be a question of troop strength, because a 100,000 strong army can destroy the base with a wave of the hand. This shows the importance of the first round. Because on the other hand, the more teams Throne defeats, the greater the possibility of final victory. But now, the war drums are beating, but there are still generals who dare not accept military orders. How can the soldiers below not be afraid? After a while, someone finally broke the strange silence. It was the voice of a tank. Good news, Shitu is willing to bring people from the guild to help, a total of 10,000 people, to help us guard base 8. Okay. Great. Shitu helped guard base number 8, and it's more than enough. After hearing such exciting news, everyone couldn't help but shout with joy. For them, stones are not strangers, but immovable subordinates. Feudo Rushan fell ill and died, but Shitu, along with a group of brothers such as Xiaoqi and Lan Tong, are still active in the gaming field. Their guild is very special, there are no peripheral members, they are all elites. In this way, combat effectiveness is guaranteed. The leader of the demon army in base 8 is only the holy word mage Yeoman. Stone and the others are almost guaranteed to take the field. Now there are only the last 2 bases left. Stone's helping hand greatly increased the morale of everyone in the throne room. At this moment, only the last 2 leaders were left, and everyone couldn't help but hope that they would appear soon. Yechen raised his eyebrows and said directly, Monkey, Fatty, and Senior Xiaoro, you go to battlefield number 9. Kikai, Yufeng, you go to battlefield number 10. Wuoming and Xinjiao assist. Monkey, Fatty, Xiaoro, these are the people around Yechen. Along the way, their strength increased, but Yechen and Tank Oro were too powerful and weakened them. Yechen knows this very well. In this critical period, there is no time to worry too much, so letting them take the lead is the best choice. And Shen Kimian, Yufeng, and the 2 musketeers are enough to compete with the leader of the demon army. Distribution completed. The captains of each team lead their elite groups and rush to the battlefield. Oh! As Yechen finished speaking, he turned into white light and teleported to battlefield number 6. Yechen led the guild elites to fight out, and there were already 6,000 troops waiting outside the base. Uncle Soy Sauce, Tank, Huowu, and others also fought into their own battlefields, which greatly increased the momentum of their soldiers. Battlefield number 6. Yechen stood in the front, with core members such as Huotong and Denai behind him. Behind him was a black army of 6,000 people, backed by the base, waiting for the arrival of the monster. Not long after, a war cry sounded in the distance, and Yechen looked up and saw a black mass of heads rushing over. The leader had silver hair and a black robe, and it was the monster. When the 2 sides were 100 yards apart, the monster waved his hand, and the army behind him stopped. The war cry stopped, and the 2 armies stared at each other in awe. For a moment, the atmosphere was tense and murderous. The demon looked at Yechen, glanced around, and said, Yechen, you really did it? You have 60,000 people in the throne, divided into 10 teams, 6,000 vs 10,000, guess what the odds are? Since you can guess, why ask more? Now besides this method, do I have any other choice? Yechen chuckled. Yes, that's right, this is the best tactic. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 332. To be exact, you can only do this. The weak always think about defense, while offense is the exclusive preserve of the strong. The demon sneered and said, before, in the face of the innocent myth, your throne was the home court and the strongest offensive force. Now it's our demon army, and the position has completely changed. The demon was like a superior person, giving directions to the country, but Yechen was just silent, and the army behind him also held back. What, do you have nothing to say? Although it is 10v10, your throne only has 6,000, while our demon army has more, and it is even more elite. The demon continued, the uncles of the top 8 in the contest of martial arts and Lan, who relies on the elf dragon, may be able to win. But in the end, no matter how many versus several, the advantage of our demon army will be further expanded, and the situation of your throne will become more and more dangerous. What if it's 10-0? We're 10 and you're 0, Yuchen sneered. Ha ha ha. Hearing this, the demon was stunned for a second, then he laughed out loud. Indeed, as Yechen said, if it were really 10-0, the advantage of their demon army would be gone, but this chance was too slim. How dare you say that? I really think highly of you, but you are pinning your hopes on non-existent illusions. It's really pitiful. Yao sneered, his face darkened, and he changed the topic and said, I heard Kinji talk about you. He always compared the two of us. You learned his hidden weapon style, but you didn't put it into practice. And I learned it? He has lost his magic circle, but he can use it perfectly. Haha, so what? Yechen laughed out loud. He had Xiaohei and Xueshu and advocated an instant kill flow. The mere flow of hidden weapons is ultimately auxiliary. I'm just stating a fact. Of course, no matter how good you are in the hidden weapon style, you can't compare to the magic circle. You made a mistake in your choice. The demon smiled inexplicably and said, do you know why I like playing chess? Because I like the feeling of strategizing and making every step. Life and games are not just chess, one step is wrong and every step is wrong. At this moment, our demon army has mastered the irreversible. If you have the advantage, you will definitely lose. And you will be completely defeated, and you will never be able to recover like a sinless person. There is no such thing as a total failure. Only people like you, who are overly conceited, will not be able to withstand the blow of failure. Yechen sneered, the battle hasn't even started yet, but you've already said it's like a winner summing up the loser. Hey, if you lose, I really don't know how you will end up. I will not be defeated. Charge. Roar. The demon gave an order, like the sound of a war drum, and the armies of both sides rushed forward and violently collided with each other. For a time, the flames of war were raging into the sky, and the sea of fire and explosions generated by various skills filled the entire battlefield. Breakthrough. Blow up their base, the demon's order sounded from the crowd. The army he leads is the most elite team of the demon army, with extremely high quality. As soon as you hear the order, take action immediately. Not long after, an army of over 100 people broke through the siege and rushed towards the base. However, they found that Yechen and Huo Fenghuang were standing guard in front of the base. Sneak. Intermediate psychostimulant potion. Lazy potion. Wind step. Run. Shadow thorn. Yuchen turned into a black shadow in an instant, blending into the shadows, and then took the potion to activate buff. All this was completed in just an instant. When the other party came to his senses, Yechen had already assassinated one person. Because of the effect of Shadow Sting, even if he kills someone, he still remains in stealth. In the blink of an eye, Xiaohei rushed out, even more unscrupulously, using his skills wildly, killing 5 players in an instant. At this time, Xiaohei accumulated enough combo points and turned into an invisible top. Its speed was so fast that it directly plowed the ground. It was not a sword storm, but a finishing move, Destruction Storm. As the top spun, it shot out countless invisible flame darts, killing 23 people in 1 second. Zzzzz. The sound of strangulation still exists, 50 players were strangled in 3 seconds. Of the 100 people who had just rushed in, less than half were left in an instant. Rain of arrows. The fire dragon breaks. Seal the demon and kill it. Although Xiaohei is invisible, it turns into a top like a bulldozer and plows the ground, betraying its movement trajectory. Several players on the other side who reacted quickly were blocked in an instant and released their ultimate moves with a roar. With a bang, a large pit appeared on the ground, but no damage was done. They were stunned for a moment, then immediately realized, this is not Ye Chen. It's his shadow-like skill. It's useless to hit shadows. Archers, what do you do for food? Where are the coordinates of Ye God? More than half of the team died in an instant, and the remaining people showed fear in their eyes and roared angrily. //234. No, //253. Changed again, //261. CIAO, you're going too fast, why don't you pay for it? When the archers were scolded, they immediately reacted and reported their coordinates, but the coordinates reported by everyone were biased. After all, their formation was broken up and not concentrated at one point. As a result, they could not use what a clock direction, deviation percent to report. Based on the coordinates alone, their speaking speed could not compare to Ye Chen's moving speed. Blade Storm and Finishing Blow. Destroying Storm. Ye Chen had already changed into the Storm Necklace, killed one person to accumulate combo points, and after Xiaohe, used Destruction Storm again. He is an entity, with white sword energy arousing all over his body. The sword energy cuts the air and creates a powerful whirlwind. Plowing the ground along the way, he shot out countless flaming darts, killing them wantonly. Show up, fight. The opponent roared and launched multiple skills at once, but Ye Chen's Destruction Storm moved too fast, causing most of the skills to fail. Among them, there are even some control skills. Only a few masters directly predict and hit in front of the top, waiting for the top to hit itself. Ye Chen accidentally hit a few skills, but they were all blocked by the powerful whirlwind around him. He only suffered very little damage. With the Abyss Demon's killing blood recovery effect, his blood was restored instantly. Next, Ye Chen was more experienced and moved irregularly. This leaves the enemy with only random predictions, with a very low success rate. It's scary, it's so scary. Ah! Facing Ye Chen's ruthless strangulation, everyone was dumbfounded, and their faces were already covered with cold sweat. Not long after, countless screams rang out, and most people were shot to death by flaming darts. In less than 10 seconds, most of the 100 people who were rushed over by the demon army died, leaving less than 10 people. Ye Chen didn't bother to care about them, he called Xiaohe in his heart and rushed towards the army ahead. Damn, are we being ignored? No. Continuous fireballs. The Fire Phoenix's thin beak was like a cannon, spitting out a series of fireballs, instantly annihilating the remaining 10 people. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 333. Lazy Potion. After Ye Chen leaves the battle, he can exit the battle state in just 3 seconds. Intermediate Mental Stimulation Potion, reduces the CD of all Ye Chen's skills by 30%. Shadow Thorn, originally 5 seconds CD, becomes 3.5 seconds. Shadow Escape, originally 5 seconds CD, becomes 3.5 seconds. Ye Chen is like the god of death in the shadows, sometimes sneak attack, sometimes strong attack, and disappear in an instant. He is active on the edge of the battlefield, making the enemy tremble with fear. Xiaohe is even more wanton, within 20 yards, it is simply its slaughterhouse. Ye Chen and Xiaohe defend the edge of the battlefield, making it impossible for the enemy to break through, and even if they break through, they will die soon. As time passes, the red name above Ye Chen's head deepens, because of the effect of the Sin Suit. 5 points of Sin increase a little basic attack power, further increasing damage. The players killed on the throne side immediately resurrected and rushed out of the base. Passing Ye Chen, continue to rush into the battlefield to fight. With my ability, if I charge into the battlefield, I will definitely be hit harder by the enemy. Ye Chen pondered slightly, gathered his mind, and said to himself, but now it's not an attack, but a defense, hold on. Like battlefield number 6, the battles in the other battlefields have also reached a white-hot level. The major battlefields, the throne and the demon army, are basically evenly matched. Of course, the demon army has the upper hand. Only in the two major battlefields, the throne has an absolute advantage. It's not Yechen, nor the uncle and Lan who the demons fear, but battlefields number 7 and number 8 where Big Fried Chicken and Stone are. Battlefield number 7. Big Fried Chicken summoned the Octopus King, and with a crazy beating, he killed thousands of enemy soldiers in seconds. The enemy General Ao Wushuan was stunned. He didn't expect that there was such a thing in the throne. In astonishment, countless huge tentacles smashed down crazily, and smoke and dust rose. Ao Wushuan and thousands of compatriots were killed in seconds. After that, the Octopus King waved dozens of tentacles at the same time, killing dozens of people in one wave. The violent Bear King, the runaway Snail, and the Flame Giant had already rushed out, all of them were Lord Pets. Killing at will. And the enemy's concentrated fire attack would also be blocked by Big Fried Chicken's star barrier, the hexagram. In just 10 minutes, Big Fried Chicken led the throne army to gain an irreversible advantage. This is no longer defense, but offense. The base behind seemed to be ignored. Big Fried Chicken led the pets and the army to chase the enemy's defeated army. Brother Octopus. Mighty and domineering. In this battlefield, the throne members were the most relaxed. They won by lying down, relaxed and happy, and couldn't help but smile. Big Fried Chicken, what Squidward? Don't try to downplay my existence in this way. Everyone, it's Squidward, right? You just have a powerful pet, why are you so proud? Big Fried Chicken, hee hee, you are jealous, aren't you? If you dare, catch an Octopus King for me to see. Everyone, tisk. Battlefield number 8. Shitu and others are not as perverted as Big Fried Chicken, but they have also gained an absolute advantage. The two sides have equal forces, but Shitu's troops are more elite. Moreover, the enemy general only has one holy word mage Yuman, and Shitu has Zioki and Lantong on his side. It only took a few minutes to disperse the enemy. Except for Big Fried Chicken's team, they are the only powerful team that does not need to defend, but directly attack. Of course, each team encounters different opponents, and it is difficult to evaluate their strength. Shitu, we are done here, do we need to go to other battlefields for support? Lantong asked. No, once we leave, there will be no one to defend the base behind. Shitu shook his head and refused. Xiao Qi smiled and said, don't worry, don't we know the strength of Yeshen and his men? We came to help just to go through the motions and get a favor. Even without us, Yeshen would not lose. Hee hee, Xiao Qi, when did you become crooked? I remember that you were very unhappy with Yeshen before. Shi Tou teased. Xiao Qi blushed, why do you still mention the past? Now we have grown up, haven't we? Hearing this, Shi Tou and Lantong were stunned. When Budong Rushan was there, they were all brothers and sisters, and there was no need to fight for anything, because everything was supported by Budong. When Budong left, they also grew up and radiated their own light. After a long silence, Shi Tou smiled and said, yes, we have all grown up. In battlefields number 7 and number 8, the throne side gained an absolute advantage. However, the throne also had two battlefields, which fell into a nightmare-like desperate situation. They were number 9 and number 10, the last two battlefields. There was no way, the generals of these two battlefields were temporarily pulled out by Yechen. At this stage, they don't have the strength and courage to carry the banner. The throne is weak in terms of military strength, and now the generals are also inferior, so they are naturally defeated. Battlefield number 9. Monkey, Fatty, Xiaoro, looking at the scattered army, felt a sense of powerlessness in their hearts. The enemy's Yu Shen led the team and approached the base. A large number of elite members died in the battle and rushed out, and they barely held on. You know, the throne is currently only LV9, accommodating 9,000 members. When the war begins, the allocation of these 9,000 people is crucial. Because the peripheral members will return to the city to revive after death and cannot continue to participate in the war. Because of this, Ye Chen deliberately allocated as many elites as possible to the weak teams. Even so, Monkey and others were still defeated. In the face of absolute military strength, only a strong general can equalize the situation. The skinny monkey over there, and the fat guy in front, haha, are you the so-called generals? The rain sneered, hey, it seems that the throne is empty, and you two weak chickens are sent to fill the number, what's the use of two together? Hearing this, Monkey's face sank. Wan Quan, don't be provoked by them. Ye Shen has always valued you, and now you should believe in yourself. Xiaoro gave the army a group treatment and said. Senior sister. Monkey opened his mouth. Xiaoro, a straightforward girl, used her real name in the game. Is it necessary to reveal the real name of her friends? Huo Wu and others have emphasized this point many times, but Xiaoro still can't change her mind. After all, she has too little game experience, only Ye Chen's ID Ye Shen, she remembers it clearly. Monkey was about to complain, but was interrupted by a voice. That's right. If you, the host, don't believe in yourself, then our reinforcements will be in an awkward position. The man who came was a thief with a blood-red rose carved on his chest. This was the guild logo of the Assassin's Guild, the Dance of Death. Monkey, Xiaoro, and others looked in the direction of the voice, but saw not just one thief, but a group of thieves. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 334. Stinger. Reinforcements. Xiaoro was surprised to see the people coming. Stinger was considered Ye Chen's enemy in the novice village, and later joined the Killer Guild. Xiaoro did not expect that Stinger would bring people to support. Don't get me wrong, this is not my personal position. Stinger said, now we represent the Killer Guild. I can't believe that Ye Shen would go to this point, and my two bosses are willing to help. Great. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Hearing this, Xiaoro and the other two looked at each other, with such a relieved smile on their faces. Stinger brought about 1,000 people, and all of them were high-quality thieves, which would bring them strong help. Not only that, listening to Stinger's words, it seems that the entire Killer Guild has come to help. Sharp thieves, divided into 10 teams, support major battlefields. Killer Guild, you are just a bounty alliance, but you are against our demon army. Aren't you afraid of being destroyed? With strong support, the morale of the throne side soared, while the demon army was furious. Yu Shen looked directly at the Stinger and shouted coldly. Although our Killer Guild has fewer people, it is also one of the top 10 giants. Don't underestimate us. The Stinger smiled grimly and rushed into the battlefield with his 1,000 thieves. As the Stinger said, the Killer Guild is also one of the top 10 giants. The recruitment conditions are extremely harsh, so all of them are elite. Shitu's 10,000 person guild is already elite, but it is still not comparable to the Killer Guild. I saw 1,000 thieves attack at the same time. They are all thieves. They don't have the assassin's finishing skills, but a set of skills can easily kill the squishy skin. After a wave, the thieves turned into battle gyroscopes. For a time, thousands of gyroscopes on the battlefield spun violently, strangling the enemy crazily. In just over 10 seconds, the demon army's advantage was gone. Monkey and others, with the cooperation of the thieves, turned defense into offense and further dealt a strong blow to the enemy. The Killer Guild is so strong. For a moment, both the enemy and the friendly forces were stunned. At this time, the stinger sneaked to the vicinity of Yu Sheng. "Captain, the stinger has broken through," the archers around Yu Sheng hurriedly shouted, and at the same time raised their longbows and shot a series of arrows into the sky. Countless arrows fell down rapidly, forming a rain of arrows, sweeping towards the stinger from all directions. Flying Thunder God. Almost at the same time, the stinger shot a dart and flew towards Yu Sheng's forehead. Before Yu Sheng could react, the stinger had disappeared from the spot. In an instant, countless arrows fell and smoke and dust rose. The stinger broke through the smoke and dust like a teleportation, and stepped on the dart with 1-foot shadow attack. Backstab. -1125. -7238. The poisonous stab cut Yu Sheng from top to bottom, triggering the shadow attack, and then rushed to Yu Sheng's back and stabbed him to death. Poisonous stab. That's the leader of this group of thieves, so strong, he killed Yu Sheng in seconds. Yes, I haven't heard of such a person before. The Assassin's Guild is really full of hidden talents. The scene of the poisonous stab killing Yu Sheng in seconds shocked everyone present, and they couldn't help but exclaimed. Being focused on by everyone, the poisonous stab also smiled proudly, then raised his eyes to the void and sighed silently. The poisonous stab is a proud person, and he is also full of confidence in his own strength. At this stage, such achievements are also within his control. The only unexpected thing is Ye Chen. Thinking back to the beginning, he didn't take Ye Chen seriously at all, and then regarded him as an opponent, and then found that he was no match for him and joined the Assassin's Guild, and now, the gap between him and Ye Chen is like a world of difference. Facing Ye Chen, he can only look up to him now. The real strong man is Ye Chen, the poisonous stab sighed with a sigh. Battlefield number 9 received support from the Assassin's Guild, and the same was true for other major battlefields. In Battlefield number 10, Shen Qimian and Yu Feng were the generals, and the musketeers Wu Ming and Xinjiao assisted. Even so, they were suppressed at the beginning, but after Qianyao came with 1,000 thieves, they instantly reversed the situation and turned defense into offense. Further gain an advantage. In battlefields number 1 to 5, Uncle Soy Sauce, Old Duck, Tank, Huo Wu, and Lan were in charge. Although they were not as embarrassed as Monkey and Shen Qimian, they were just defending. Until the reinforcements from the Assassin's Guild arrived, they instantly turned defense into offense and gained an irreversible advantage. The generals were delighted, and the trumpet of victory seemed to have sounded in their hearts. At the same time, Ming Tian and Susha personally led the team to battlefields number 7 and number 8. What's going on? The two led the team to support, but found that there were no enemies at the scene. They couldn't help but ask in surprise. Big Fried Chicken and Stone both smiled and said to the two of them, "You are late." In battlefield number 7, Bloodkill looked at Big Fried Chicken, then at the huge octopus king next to him, and said in astonishment, "Is this your pet?" Yes, Big Fried Chicken laughed. "Good boy, I didn't expect that there is a guy like you around, Ye Shen. Come on, come to our killer guild. I am very optimistic about you." Bloodkill grinned, and shamelessly poached while Ye Chen was away. Faced with such Bloodkill, everyone in the throne was stunned and looked embarrassed. Unexpectedly, Big Fried Chicken shook his head and smiled. "No, why don't you join the throne? I am also optimistic about you." Everyone was shocked when they heard this. Several senior elites among them quickly shouted, "Hey, Fried Chicken, the opponent is the great Bloodkiller." You know, even though Bloodkiller was defeated by Ye Chen in the martial arts competition and did not even make it to the top 8. But for ordinary players, Bloodkiller is still a legendary existence. And Big Fried Chicken, as a newcomer, actually sent a guild invitation to Bloodkiller. This really scared everyone, and their mouths twitched, but for some reason, they still felt a little happy in their hearts. Although they were secretly happy in their hearts, they did not dare to show it in front of Bloodkiller, so they could only hold it in, and their old faces flushed. Bloodkiller was also startled, and then a feeling of anger surged up his eyebrows, but as a senior, it was not good to argue with a newcomer at this time. With a muffled snort, Bloodkiller teleported away. Bloodkiller teleported to his own base closest to the number 6 battlefield, but found that Mingtian had also teleported over, and the four looked at each other. Shueshat, hey, aren't you going to battlefield no 8? Mingtian smiled, don't talk about me, you should be in battlefield number 7 now, right? The two of them pointed at each other and laughed at the same time. It seems that the result of this war has come out, and there is only one last good show left. Mingtian smiled, hinting at something. Well, move faster, otherwise you will miss it. Shuesha of course knew what Mingtian meant, nodded, and the two of them started the wind step at the same time, striding towards battlefield number 6. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 335. Battlefield number 6. At this time, the battle between the throne led by Ye Chen and the demon army led by Yao has reached a white-hot stage. Like other battlefields, a group of thieves also killed in battlefield number 6. Reinforcements. It turned out to be the dance of death. Yao looked at the rushing thieves with a cold face. Others don't know how powerful the Killer Guild is, but he knows it clearly. The Killer Guild takes the elite route. Although there are only 10,000 people, it is enough to crush the guilds with 20,000 or 30,000 people on the front line. The name of the giant comes from this. When Yao thought that the thieves of the Killer Guild had already poured into the major battlefields, his eyes turned cold. Boss Ye Shen, we also have our troops to support other battlefields, you can rest assured. The Killer Guild came and the captain reported the situation to Ye Chen. Now there are only 3 assassins in the entire light camp, namely Ye Chen, Mingtian, and Shueshat. Among them, Mingtian and Shueshat are the presidents of the Killer Guild, and although Ye Chen is an outsider, he is also an idol of a group of thieves. Well, I will thank you two brothers in person later. Ye Chen smiled at the captain. Obviously, the reinforcement plan of the entire Assassins' Union was the result of his discussion with Mingtian and Susha. Now that the national map has been opened, the strong men of the dark and neutral camps have already shown their ferocious fangs. The light camp is still in civil war. If they don't unite and unify the alliance as soon as possible, then the light camp will have no foothold in the national battlefield. Ye Chen, Mingtian, and Susha are very clear about this, so they temporarily formed an alliance. Mingtian, Susha, the two guys really made a good move. If I had known earlier, I should have destroyed your Assassins' Union first. Yao looked at the thieves in front and said angrily. He won't give up until he reaches the Yellow River. Don't talk nonsense with him, you guys go. At Ye Chen's order, the thieves rushed out stealthily, rushed into the battlefield a few seconds later, and completed the first wave of instant kills. But at this moment, a powerful aura emerged from the demon's body, and his silver hair and black robe fluttered without wind. The next moment, the magic wand in his hand rose into the air, and a purple lightning array was released from top to bottom. The purple lightning array has a range of 30 yards, trapping all the enemies around. In the purple lightning array, purple lightning rolled, generating actual electric current. The people of the throne troops and the thieves' troops were trapped in the array, paralyzed by the electric current, and unable to move. In addition, the magic wand in the sky produced a buzzing vibration, and a purple lightning fell once a second, hitting people like thunderbolts, and actually dealt 30,000 to 40,000 damage. Every time it was killed instantly. Boss is mighty. Kill. As soon as the demon's purple lightning array appeared, the demon army's morale increased greatly, and they rushed into the array and slashed crazily. The people in the array were continuously paralyzed, and were broken by the attack and paralyzed again in an instant, and they could not fight back at all. The throne and the thieves saw their friendly forces being attacked and rushed forward, but once they approached the purple lightning array, they were also paralyzed. After a while, the purple lightning array was full of enemy troops, forming a black circle. Obviously, they were all on Ye Chen's side, but they were all paralyzed and at the mercy of others. Burning out? Chi! With a loud phoenix cry, Xiao Hong turned into a flame bird, carrying a stream of hot air, and rushed towards the monster in the center of the purple lightning array fiercely. However, as soon as the flame bird approached the edge of the array, the flames all over its body dissipated, and its body was also absorbed and paralyzed. What a strong array, continuous paralysis, killing one person in 1 second, and it can also break the move. Ye Chen's eyes showed that his heart was shaken. At this time, he found that the monster could not move in the array, and his eyes condensed. Then, where is the array center? The magic wand in the sky. Swish! Ye Chen seemed to have sensed something, and spread his snake wings and flew towards the purple lightning array. Flying Thunder God! Ye Chen calculated the distance in his mind, and after advancing a distance, he raised his hand and shot a dart at the skeleton wand in the air. When the dart approached the skeleton wand, Ye Chen teleported over and stepped on the dart. Strong attack! With a bang, Ye Chen and Xiao He hit the skeleton wand together. For a moment, lightning flashed, and the skeleton wand was shattered into pieces. Then, the skeleton wand, which was the center of the formation, was destroyed, and the entire purple lightning formation actually vibrated and exploded like a destructive force. Dash! 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 With a bang, countless huge damage emerged, and all the people on Ye Chen's side in the purple lightning formation were blown to death. Ye Chen did not expect that the purple lightning formation would explode. He was also blown to death without opening the hegemony. The throne side had just received reinforcements, and was instantly tied again. At this moment, the total number of people on both sides was less than 1,000, and the battle reached its most intense point. Resurrection. Ye Chen revived with a gloomy face, killed 3 people in an instant, replenished his HP, and then spread his snake wings again to fly into the air. You actually have the skill to destroy equipment. The demon looked up at Ye Chen coldly, also shocked. You know, his purple lightning array is like a panacea, with a large range and full paralysis. The enemy wants to enter the array to attack him, but it can't do it at all, because once it gets close to the array, it will be paralyzed. Even if it is a long-range attack, it will be broken if it enters the range of the array. The array eye of the purple lightning array is his weapon. Of course, if the enemy kills him, it will also break the array, but it just can't do it. At this time, destroying the array eye is the only option, but the array eye is a weapon. How to destroy it? Because of this, Yao never thought that his purple lightning magic circle would be destroyed until Ye Chen destroyed his skeleton magic wand. Yao's skeleton magic wand is not an ordinary equipment, but a magic weapon. And it is a magic weapon of gold quality, which is more powerful than ordinary gold equipment and is called sub-holy weapon. At this moment, this equipment was destroyed by Ye Chen, and Yao's flesh was itching with pain. He raised his hand and summoned 2 more magic circles. 1 red and 1 blue, 1 flame magic circle, 1 freezing magic circle. These are both attack magic circles, very powerful, and also special magic circles, with the eye of the array elves lurking invisibly. The flame magic circle and the freezing magic circle were separated on the left and right. In an instant, the ground fire spewed out from the flame magic circle, like the flame impact of the mage, blasting the enemy into the sky. It's just that Yao's attack power is too high, and while blasting the enemy up, it directly kills it instantly. And the freezing magic circle also activates the effect, freezing the enemies within the range from time to time. Bloody eyes. Ye Chen's eyes flashed red, and so did Xiao He on the other side, both locking onto the magic circle spirit. Blade storm. Ye Chen and Xiao He turned quickly, rushing towards the flame magic circle and the ice magic circle on the left and right respectively, running at a 45-degree angle, and plowing the ground in an instant. This created an X-shaped gully on the entire battlefield. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 336. Finally caught up. Taiwanese novel website rightward arrow diamondsuit. Although it's already the end. On battlefield number 6, Mingtian and Susha rushed in like a gust of wind, but the total number of people on the battlefield did not exceed 300. Fortunately, among these 300 people, Yuchen and Yeadu were still present, which meant that the battle was not over yet. This made the two of them breathe a sigh of relief, smiled at each other, and then stared at every move on the battlefield. Yuchen and Xiaohe turned into gyroscopes on the left and right, plowing the ground and rushing towards the eye elves of the flame array and ice array respectively. One person drew a 45-degree slash and plowed an X-shaped gully on the scene. Yuchen attacked the flame array, attracting a series of ground fires, but the sword blade storm was a subdominant body existence. Unless it was controlled, it could not be repelled or knocked down. Moreover, its defense is extremely high. The ground fire cannot lift it up and cannot do much damage to it. Squeak. The eye of the formation felt threatened and hurried to flee, but its speed was far less than that of the gyroscope. It was caught up in an instant, and was shattered by the wind. At the same time, Xiaohe attacked the ice formation, plowing the ground all the way, revealing its whereabouts. However, the ice did not activate the effect, and the formation elf did not feel the threat at all, and was easily strangled by Xiaohe. Boss, you are awesome. Such two powerful formations were destroyed in an instant. The throne lost the threat of the formation, and calmed down for a while, and continued to fight with the enemy. Yechen and Xiaohe's blade storm had not ended yet, and when the attack was full of combo points, they directly launched the finishing move Destruction Storm. Suddenly, countless flame darts shot out, and Xiaohe's Destruction Storm and flame darts were invisible, which was even more terrifying. In 1.5 seconds, the Destruction Storm ended, and Yechen and Xiaohe strangled hundreds of people together. Horrible. Is this the power of a hidden assassin? Yes, assassins have finishing moves that thieves don't have. How can ordinary blade storms be so strong? That's not true. Although hidden professions are strong, Yechen's own strength has also reached a terrifying level. Watching Yechen kill more than 100 people with a finishing move, the enemies present were terrified. If it weren't for the equally strong monsters, they would have lost their will to fight. Outside the field, Mingtian and Susha were also dumbfounded and sweating as they looked at the scene in front of them. Now the three major assassins of the light camp are all on the scene. In addition to Yechen, who is also the person involved, Mingtian and Susha, who are also assassins, have the most say. It's not just the final move, Yechen's blade storm is so big, so fast. Well, the size of the gyro is 30% larger than ours. And the speed is at least 3 times faster. And the damage, forget about the blade storm, he doesn't rely on the gyro output at all, but the darts of the destruction storm. Flame darts. The damage is too high, one dart kills people in 1 second, what is this? Mingtian and Susha talked to themselves and were shocked on the spot. You know, although the final move is powerful, it is far from this level. Their destruction storm, first of all, the gyro rotates slowly, and there are many darts, playing multiple attacks, but Yechen kills one person in 1 second with one dart. This abnormal level is amazing to the two. Suddenly, Mingtian's eyes condensed and said, Susha, at this point, you should be able to detect Yechen's mysterious skill, right? Susha was startled, looking at the gullies created by Xiaohe's plowing the ground, and nodded seriously. That seems to be an invincible summon, with the attack power of Yeshen and all the skills. Now you know why his damage is so terrible, because it is superimposed with the summon, doubled. Mingtian took a deep breath and sighed. Yeshen's damage has been high from the beginning. In other words, Yeshen has had that skill for a long time. As his own strength increases, the summoning becomes stronger, and it becomes more and more terrifying. Shueisha snorted coldly. That's right, Yeshen has already won the first place in the Light Camp's martial arts competition. But now, his strength has increased by 2 or 3 levels compared to the beginning. Mingtian exclaimed. Look, Yao is also a pervert. Shueisha's forehead oozes cold sweat and he smiles reluctantly. While Yechen and Xiaohe are fighting, Yao also props up his wings and summons a Thunder Tiger. A black chain is generated between Yao and Thunder Tiger. Soul Connection. This is the Sacred Belt Spirit Contract, and its additional skill is Soul Connection, which allows the pet to bear the damage suffered by oneself. This sacred artifact and Yao's wings are innocent. It's just that Yao destroyed the Wuizui account and exploded them. Lei Hu roared, and substantial lightning appeared all over his body, constantly attacking the enemy. On the other side of the black chain, Yao changed a long sword, which produced lightning when attacking. This is a magic attack of light attribute. Yao's damage is very high. A knife cuts out a lightning, and more damage, and every time it is an instant kill. When he attacks, even if he is attacked, the damage is absorbed by Lei Hu. Half a minute later, the battlefield was full of corpses. The wind blew, and only Yechen and Yao were left on the battlefield, and of course, Lei Hu, who was connected to Yao's soul. Soul connection, Wuizui's holy weapon, and wings. Yechen sneered, and rushed forward to cut the throat. Lei Hu's throat was cut open, and blood spurted out like a fountain, and he fell down with a wail. Even if it is a holy weapon, if there is only an ordinary pet as a medium, it is just garbage. Yechen looked at the monster in the air and laughed. Humph! The monster snorted coldly and did not comment. The two people's nonchalant attitude made Mingtian and Susha twitch their mouths outside the field. To them, the Lord's pet is just garbage, Susha said in astonishment. Break the martial art. Even while the two were astonished, Yechen had already activated his hegemony, and flew up with Xiaohe, rushing towards the monster like a gust of wind. At this time, a purple light flashed around the monster, and then a purple lightning armor was draped over him. The two fought in the sky, the blood blade vs the long sword, bursting with clanging and explosions. Finally, each of them hit the other with a sword. Yechen's hegemony was enough to withstand the monster's attack. The defense of the monster's purple lightning armor was also extraordinary, and Yechen did not deal much damage. In addition, after Yechen hit the purple lightning armor, he was hit by the electric current that was emitted instantly and actually entered a paralyzed state. Firm will. Yechen solved the paralysis in a clever way, his snake wings shook, and he retreated like lightning. With a defense that is no less than that of a hegemon, when attacked, can it still reflect the electric current and paralyze the enemy? Yechen looked at the monster opposite and said in amazement. As far as I know, your hegemony only lasts 5 seconds, right? My purple lightning armor also only lasts 5 seconds. But now you dare not attack me, but I dare to attack you, and the strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 337. And the demon's pupils dilated, revealing a ferocious posture. He swung his long sword and threw out a circular beam of light. Yechen noticed something was wrong and wanted to run away, but the beam hit him in an instant and tied him up. Yechen tried hard to break free, but couldn't. Gradually, he discovered that there was a strong suction force coming from the beam, which absorbed the golden red light on his body and emitted white smoke. The next moment, Yechen's hegemonic body disappeared. Searched Can on Google. Did you see it? Now that you can't move and have lost your hegemonic body, I can kill you with one sword. The demon smiled charmingly, flapped its wings behind it, and shot towards Yuchen. During this period, a white fighting spirit surged from the demon's feet, which meant that the demon was using the light. Yeah. Yuchen smiled slightly. Xiao He flew out of the body, took a step back and used teleportation, switching places with Yuchen. Brush. Yao slashed at Xiao He with his sword, making a muffled sound of cutting the air. The strong wind blew up Yuchen's hair behind him, but it failed to hurt Yuchen. Under the restraint of the laser beam, can you still use teleportation? The demon's eyes widened, with a look of disbelief on his face. Then he became furious, roared, past Xiao He and slashed at Yuchen again. Hands of hell! Suddenly, the space behind Yuchen shattered to form a black hole, and the demon's arm, which had always been dark and ferocious, stretched out in an instant, grabbing the demon tightly. Under the horrified gaze of the monster, Yuchen controlled the hand of hell and slammed it to the ground. With a bang, the monster hit the ground. The powerful force made a pit appear on the ground and smoke and dust rose up. Flying Thunder God! The next moment, Yuchen threw out a dart and teleported over. After half a second, the smoke dispersed, and the demon sat in a hollow on the ground with a slumped expression. Yuchen stood behind him, holding the dagger behind his back, pressing the bloody blade firmly against the demon's throat. Now if anyone on either side makes a move, the demon will be instantly killed. Outside the field, Ming Tian and Xue Shazhen looked at the two people in the pit and gasped. Ming Tian, it's over. As expected, Night God is more terrifying. Xue Sha shook his head, these two guys are equally terrifying. We are no match for anyone. In other words, they have already reached the level of kings. At this time, Yuchen did not kill the demon. The two of them were not surprised, but were slightly relieved. After all, now that the national war has broken out, there is no point in continuing the civil war. Only by selecting a leader and then creating a coalition of the light camp can it gain a foothold on the national map. Yuchen, even if you are lucky enough to defeat me this time, the demon army still has an absolute advantage in terms of numbers. Next, they can still destroy the throne. However, the demon did not have such an awareness, and sneered sternly. Don't you understand yet? In 10 battlefields, we won 10-0. Does your so-called advantage really exist? Yuchen shook his head and moved the bloody blade away. The demon stood up and turned around and said excitedly, so what if it's 10-0? It's just the first round. Next, our army of 100,000 will unite and attack your throne base one by one. Yao roared excitedly, then suddenly paused after a while because he found that Yuchen had taken out a model of a ship. After he looked over attentively, he was stunned. It turns out, it's actually an intermediate base. Yao looked deeply at Yuchen and trembled in his heart. Only now did he know why Yuchen was so confident and calm throughout the battle. Because Yuchen is simply invincible. Intermediate base, at this stage, the demon army has absolutely nothing to do. Damn it! Yuchen, are you kidding me? Since we have an intermediate base, why didn't we use it earlier? What's the point of this war? The demon felt that his dignity had been violated, and he cried out angrily. Yuchen smiled and said, I'm just using a trick to make you recognize yourself. In fact, even if there is no intermediate base, the demon army still hasn't defeated the throne, right? You bastard! Yao was so angry that he was about to argue, but Yuchen interrupted directly, Yao, you said you like chess and strategizing. You suppressed the explosion and defeated Ginlis in one fell swoop. Your strength deserves recognition. But in my opinion, you are nothing but a frog in a well. The demon's eyes narrowed, I'm a frog in the well? What should I say? The national battlefield has been opened. The powerful business alliance and those terrifying kings have emerged. Ming Tian, Susha, and I all have the intention of joining forces. You are the only one who is still thinking about civil war. Do you think you are a frog in the well? Ye Chen sneered, so what if the demon army destroys the throne? How can you be sure to win from those monsters by yourself? King? Have you already fought against them? How are their combat capabilities? The demon asked coldly. Hey, it's said to be a monster. If I don't use external force like cannons, I would have at most a 40% chance of winning against any king, Ye Chen replied. While the two were talking, Ming Tian and Shueisha came over. They were shocked when they heard the words, and their demonic eyes trembled. They already have a deep understanding of Ye Chen's strength. Even so, facing the king, they only have a 40% chance of winning. The demon was suddenly hit by the powerful information, and his whole body couldn't help but tremble. He took a deep breath and said, "Then what do you want to do?" Hearing this, Mingtian and Susha also looked at Ye Chen intently. In the Chinese theater, there are currently less than 10 kings, and they are everywhere in the dark camp and the neutral camp. Unfortunately, there is not even one person in the huge light camp. Now only Ye Chen and Yao can barely reach the king level. This chapter is not over yet, please click the next page to continue reading. Then the future of the light camp is in the hands of the two of them. Yao, I know you are ambitious and unwilling to submit to anyone. In fact, I am the same in this regard. Ye Chen smiled and said, but now at least we are united in our stance, not allowing civil war, and pointing the spearhead at the dark camp and the neutral camp. Hey, at this point, I thought you were going to say something. Yao smiled evilly, you are right, my self-esteem does not allow me to submit to anyone. If there is, I will also try every means to defeat it, just like Wuzui at the beginning. So I agree with your proposal, each of us is independent, and point the spearhead at the real enemy. As for the battle between you and me, let's stop it for the time being. After speaking, Ye Chen and Yao looked at each other and smiled tacitly. However, Mingtian and Susha were startled and sweated nervously. Now that the national battlefield is open, these two guys are still so willful, is that really okay? Hey, are you too serious? If there is no leader, there will be disagreements in action. Shueisha said angrily, in terms of combat effectiveness, we are already weak. If we disperse our forces, is it possible to win? Besides, even if you act separately, there will always be a time when you meet. If there is a strong enemy at that time, who will be the leader? Mingtian calmed down and raised his doubts. Yao snorted coldly and said, if that happens, let Ye Chen take the lead. After all, he is the winner in the battle between the throne and the demon army. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 338. Victory is a king, defeat is a bandit. Night God, if your command fails at that time, it will be mine next time. The demon snorted coldly and asked, how? I have no problem, Ye Chen replied. This is the only way. Mingtian and Susha looked at each other and sighed helplessly. Now that things have happened, Ye Chen and Yao, who are key figures, have already made this decision, and they have no choice. Suddenly, Ye Chen handed the ship-shaped base to Yao and said with a smile, I have 2 of these, so I'll give you 1. This ship-shaped base should be sold by Dong Lei, right? Now I can guess that you must have completed some kind of plot mission to improve Dong Lei's shipbuilding technology. If you buy something from Dong Lei, you should be able to enjoy a huge discount. Yao sneered and said, a mid-level base that can be purchased, even if it has a thick fog array embedded in it. If I ask Kinji for this thing, he will also help. Such a cheap thing, why do you want to win people's hearts now? Hey, can you stop being so dark in character? Ye Chen obviously just means well, right? Shueisha said in displeasure. Mingtian sweated, speaking of dark personality and ungratefulness. You are also a master in blood killing. You have no right to criticize others. Shueisha's face turned red. Yao smiled and said, anyway, I'll accept this. But Night God, you have to find a way to control Donglei. This ship-shaped base has quite an advantage at this stage. If anyone can buy it, I'm afraid there will be traders buy it and then sell it to the dark camp and the neutral camp in order to make huge profits. A national war is also a civil war. Before the start of the World War, they were not considered traders, at most they were black businessmen. Well, I will pay attention to this. Ye Chen nodded. System, the demon has sent an alliance application to the throne on behalf of the demon army. Do you agree? System, the demon has sent an alliance application to Dance of Death on behalf of the demon army. Do you agree? Suddenly, Ye Chen and Ming Tian were prompted by the system and agreed directly without any hesitation. The so-called alliance does not have much advantage. It is nothing more than that the alliance members will attack each other and will be transparent by default. In this way, during a national war, no one of your own will be hurt. Of course, like guilds and teams, the default is the default, and you can still attack by force. In addition, alliance members can also cancel the alliance at any time. Okay, Ye Shen, if there is nothing else, I will leave first and go to open up the wasteland of Zhaihaxia. I will meet those so-called kings for a while and see if they are really as powerful as you say. Yao Chao Yuchen said something, then turned to look at Mingtian and Susha, two seniors. If there is nothing else, please give me a helping hand. TCH, you kid, you haven't said a human word until now. Shueisha was a little carried away by the senior's call, a smile appeared on his face, and the dissatisfaction with the demon in his heart disappeared instantly. Awkward guy. Mingtian looked at the two of them and smiled helplessly. The three of them waved to Yuchen at the same time and used the teleportation stone to leave. Yuchen also gathered the main force and used the teleportation stone to return to Thunder City. Damn! Who is so awesome and has a famous name in the main city? Ye Shen. The champion of the light camp in the contest of martial arts. He is indeed very powerful, but is he too inflated? If the red name is in the main city, even if the players don't take action, aren't they afraid of being killed by NPCs? Look, a group of NPC guards rushed over, the fun begins. Tisk, tisk, it's too swollen. Ye Chen teleported directly to the main city with his red name, immediately causing the surrounding players to exclaim, and a group of more than 10 NPC guards rushed over in a menacing manner. You know, the level of the NPC guards in the main city is based on the highest level of the current camp at 20. Now the highest level person in the light camp is the demon. He is level 46. In other words, the level of this group of NPC guards is level 66. Among them, the captain is a level 66 leader. At this time, the NPC escort rushed towards Ye Chen with great momentum, and the hearts of the onlookers were in their throats. However, the next scene shocked their eyes. After the NPC escort team came to Ye Chen, they straightened up and performed a military salute and said respectfully, "Major." Oh my god, the famous player actually got the respect of the NPC guard? Who is Ye Shen? 6666, idle, so awesome. Major? Is a major a military rank? In other words, those with a military rank of major or above, even if they have a red name, can enter the main city, right? It seems to be true, but it is extremely difficult to rise to the military rank. At this stage, there are only two majors, Ye Shen and Yao, in the entire light camp. Everyone exclaimed and looked at Ye Chen with fanatical admiration in their eyes. However, Ye Chen's expression was indifferent. Even if the major had a famous name, he would not be targeted by the NPC guards in the main city. He had known it for a long time. And he also knew that the NPC guards would follow him closely, with respect for respect and awe for awe, but Yuchen had a red name after all, and they would still take action against Yuchen once he caused trouble in the main city. Of course, Ye Chen is no longer afraid of them. Having grown to this point, he can already cross the 20 level gap and kill these NPC guards, but he won't do this. So, even if he goes to the main city of the Dark Camp, wouldn't he be able to do whatever he wants? Actually, it is not the case. Yachen can cross the 20 level difference and kill ordinary, elite, and even leader. Other kings can do it too. But if it is true, the main cities of the three camps would have been in chaos long ago. The reason why no one dares to move is because there will be sanctuary NPCs in any main city. If it is really chaotic, the sanctuary NPC will take action. Kill instantly with a wave of the hand. Therefore, if you want to make trouble in the main city, you must first upgrade to level 80 and reach the sanctuary. Level is one aspect, and there is also strength, at least have the strength to deal with multiple sanctuary NPCs at the same time. In the previous life, the owner of the blood tree was very strong. With the help of the sanctuary blood tree, he got a strong feedback force. Joining hands with the blood tree, the sanctuary is invincible. Even if facing multiple sanctuary masters, it can be invincible. That guy, super arrogant, actually took the blood tree to attack the enemy's main city. It caused a huge response for a while, it shocked the whole country, and even foreign players were terrified, fearing that the thing would grow up. However, in the end, a strong man from the God realm took action and killed the blood tree in one sword. That strong man from the God realm was Jian Wuhen. The previous life is the previous life. That arrogant guy, Yechen, didn't take him seriously at all, and didn't even remember his name. He obviously had such a heaven-defying existence as the blood tree, but it died young. He was just a waste. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, Ba Wang Shi-san. Chapter 339. In this life, Yechen has touched the threshold of the top of the pyramid. If he takes a little further, he will be able to rule the world. When he and Shueshu grow to the Holy Land, other players, even the kings, will only be in the Holy Land at most, and it is impossible for them to reach the God realm first. And there are no gods in the main city. That is to say, at that time, he has the possibility of conquering the main city. Not long after, Yechen met up with Tank and others. Yechen handed the ship-shaped base, the Goblin Miracle, and 2 cannons to Tank, and said, "Tank, you put the ship-shaped base in Zhihaixia, by a few ropes, and let the Goblin Miracle drag the base, which will increase the speed a little. You lead the team to open up the wasteland." Tank nodded. With this mobile base, he is equivalent to leading 9,000 people in the entire guild. Open up the wasteland together. At that time, even if he encounters the king team, he can use the human wave tactics. "Yechen, how is the progress of fire energy?" Huo Wu asked. Yechen replied, "Well, it's still a little short of the intermediate preacher. If I continue to grind, it should be almost there when it refreshes at 12 m. Okay, I'll take my believers to continue to grind on Fire Lion Island." Huo Wu nodded. After that, Tank and Huo Wu led the people away. Yechen went to Longyang City alone, to the Light Alliance. Yechen went in with a big red name, and the 5 kings looked unfriendly when they saw him. "Yechen, as a major, you should pay more attention to the sin value." Zwivozikin said seriously, his expression eased a little, and asked, "So, what do you want to see us this time?" Yechen nodded, told the 5 kings about Dong Lai, and said, "At this stage, the ship-shaped base has a great advantage. I think you should send someone to protect Dong Lai and give him a military rank. In addition, the sale of the ship-shaped base should also be strictly controlled. You must meet a certain military rank to be eligible to buy." "Very good, doing so can prevent internal traders and prevent our important military supplies from flowing to the enemy camp." Hearing this, the five kings all nodded and looked at Yechen with appreciation. Zwivoxaken waved his hand and said to Yechen, "Okay, we will arrange this matter immediately. You should clean up your sins as soon as possible. The next time I see you, I don't want you to still have a big red name. That won't do. I have a hell suit, so of course the higher the sin value, the better." Yechen complained in his heart, but didn't dare to say it out loud. You know, he is now a major, and even if he is a red name, he can move freely in the main city. In addition, even if he is killed and imprisoned, he will be given a large degree of probation because of his major rank, and his NPC subordinates can also help with the crime reduction tasks. Putting these aside, with Yachen's current strength, as long as he is not deliberately seeking death, ordinary people really can't kill him. On this basis, Yechen will certainly not wash his sins. He wishes that his sin value is as high as possible. If he can't bear it anymore, it's not too late to enter hell. Yechen said goodbye to the five kings, left the Light Alliance, and headed towards the Death Forest. Now that Huowu brings believers to help him brush fire energy, he can be promoted to an intermediate preacher by refreshing daily tasks in the early morning. As for himself, he was going to the Dark Camp to continue to earn merits and become a lieutenant colonel. Halfway through, a broadcast suddenly sounded. Broadcast from the Light Camp: "Congratulations to the player Yechen for completing the hidden task. Recommend talents, changing the fate of the shipwright Donglei and making Donglei the captain of this camp. Rewards: 50 million experience points, 30 gold coins, 3 divine escape talismans." The broadcast was broadcast 3 times in a row, resounding throughout the Light Camp, attracting all kinds of discussions. Yechen again, a professional broadcaster. Yechen himself is a major, and he randomly recommended an NPC, and he turned out to be a captain? The rank of captain is so worthless. Bullshit, there are no more than 100 captains in the entire Light Camp. You say it's worthless? Now it's obviously the NPC named Donglei. He has great value. Ji Hai Xia. The main members of the demon army boarded 3 advanced warships, using ropes to pull the huge ship-shaped base, and sailed on the sea. Humph, I didn't expect that I could complete a unique hidden mission this way. I'm also a major and have the qualifications to recommend. If I had known earlier, I would have gone by myself. It's a waste for Yechen. Yao snorted, with an unhappy expression on his face. Ming Tian. Susha. Yao, experience and gold coins are fine, but I hope that God Travel Talisman is not a very good thing. Hearing this, Ming Tian and Susha's mouths twitched. Now everyone has formed an alliance, but Yao still seems to have not given up on competing with Yechen. On the other side, Yechen himself was also stunned. The huge amount of experience value reward allowed him to upgrade 1 level to level 45. Of course, he didn't care about the level, and quickly took out the God Travel Talisman to check. God Travel Talisman, holy product / consumable after use, teleport to any identified map node. It can be used in battle. Sure enough. The God Travel Talisman can also be used in battle. Yechen looked excited. In his previous life, he had also seen the Magic Travel Talisman. He saw it at an auction house later on. One was sold for gold coins. Converted to RMB, that would be 1 million per piece. No one would buy it. In fact, the Magic Travel Talisman was deliberately placed at the auction house by a local tycoon to show off. He deliberately set a sky-high price because he didn't really want to sell it. That is to say, the real price of the Divine Escape Talisman is difficult to judge because it is rare, but it is definitely a great thing. It can be used in battle. With it, Yechen is more fearless. You know, Xiaohei has instant transfer, which is also teleportation. Yechen avoided many fatal attacks with Xiaohei's ability. But the cooling time of this skill is too long. At the beginning, Xiaohei needed 1 hour to cool down. As it becomes more proficient, It now takes only about 10 minutes to cool down, but it is still a little long. And the restrictions are quite large. After all, the distance between Yechen and Xiaohe is only 20 yards now. Under all the restrictions, Yechen still needs to hold it. Now that he has the Divine Escape Talisman, he can let go and do a big job. That thing, I can finally take action. Yechen smiled mysteriously, accelerated forward, and soon came to the Death Forest. After arriving at the center of the third level, he used the commander to pull the blood tree into the team, and then used the team teleport. A white light flashed, and a big tree appeared next to Yechen. This tree is so thick that two people can't hug it together, but it's not very tall, no more than 6 yards. It has many branches, and the branches are blood red, but there is no leaf. Master, we haven't seen each other for a long time. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 340. Master, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Shueshu spoke, still with the immature voice of a little boy. Well, you've grown up a lot. Yechen smiled and patted the thick trunk of the blood tree. The blood tree opens its spirit at level 25 and becomes a lord after birth. When the camp battle was enabled at level 30, Yechen put it in the dark camp and told the blood tree to call out if there was any danger. After that, Yechen basically ignored it. A long time has passed since then, and the blood tree has not actively contacted Yechen, which shows that it is very up to date and is not in danger. The blood tree has an automatic pickup function. It kills enemies and monsters, and Yechen will receive all the trophies it obtains. In addition, killing enemies with blood trees will also feed back Yechen's experience points. Through this information, Yechen has been able to determine the safety of the blood tree. Now, Shueshu is level 45 like Yechen and is still a lord. It obviously relies on blood sucking to grow, so it should have absorbed a lot of blood, but it has no tendency to evolve at all. Blood tree, I have brought you something good today. Yechen smiled and took out the holy blood of Dujula's loyal dog. Blood is divided into two types. One is ordinary blood with strong fluidity. The other type is blood essence. Any blood that bursts out is usually blood essence, and blood essence is solid. The holy beast essence and blood held in Yechen's hand was like a bloody flesh ball. Saying that, Yechen pressed the holy blood onto the trunk of the blood tree. The blood tree immediately began to absorb energy, and the flesh ball shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye. Feeling the majestic energy inside, the blood tree trembled with excitement. After a while, the blood tree actually expanded and grew, becoming taller and taller, 7 yards. 10 yards. 20 yards. 30 yards. When the holy blood disappears, the blood tree grows into a towering tree. About 35 yards long. And there are a lot of red leaves growing on the originally bare branches. System, congratulations on the evolution of your blood tree and becoming a golden lord. Blood tree, golden lord. Level 45. HP/. Skills, blood sucking, automatic picking up, whipping, entangling, flying red leaves, earthquake star, level 4, disguise. Features, feedback. Note, can be upgraded and grown. That's great. It has evolved. Yechen was pleasantly surprised. He knew that the blood tree should reach a critical point, also known as a bottleneck. The holy blood directly helps the blood tree break this bottleneck. Now the blood tree has evolved from a lord to a golden lord, and all attributes have skyrocketed. Although Fire Phoenix is also a golden lord, it is a pet and its HP has been greatly weakened. The blood tree is a special existence and will not be weakened. HP 1.45 million. This is the real golden lord. After the blood tree evolves, the power of feedback has not changed. It still gives Yechen a 45% increase in all attributes along with the level. In addition, the same goes for experience. 45% of the experience gained from the blood tree will be fed back to Yuchen. Of course, the blood tree upgrades very quickly, and it doesn't matter how much experience you give back. Thank you, Master. Now I can fight side by side with Master. I have been looking forward to it, blood tree said happily. Fighting side by side, Yechen was stunned. The blood tree has evolved and its strength has indeed increased a lot, but the Golden Lord equals the National Lord. The strength of both sides is about the same, and those terrifying kings, except Taishan, may not be able to do it due to professional issues, but the other kings basically have the strength to kill the National Lord, that is, the Golden Lord. After all, the blood tree only has one life, so Yuchen must be careful. Master, I know you are worried about my safety. Don't worry, I have disguise skills. And with this evolution, my disguise is getting stronger and stronger, the blood tree said with a smile. It has a calm personality, and has never had any emotional fluctuations since its enlightenment. Disguise. You are so huge, so what if you disguise yourself? Yechen still disagreed. At this moment, the figure of the blood tree fluctuated, and the next moment, it shrank. It turned into an ordinary big tree. Master, don't worry. If I want, I can become smaller, I can even become a grass on the ground. However, I cannot move while in disguise. Once I move, the disguise will be lifted. Shueshu explained patiently. So that's it? A smile appeared on Yuchen's face. Since the blood tree's camouflage ability is so powerful, the danger has been reduced a lot. Okay, I'll let you follow. Yechen smiled, turned around, and ran towards the level 4 area. The blood tree didn't catch up immediately, in fact it couldn't keep up. After the blood tree evolved, its speed also increased a lot, making it a little faster than ordinary players. But of course it can't be compared with Yechen. Master, please go first. I can lock your coordinates and will definitely follow you. I'm looking forward to fighting side by side with you. The blood tree smiled and moved forward unhurriedly. Along the way, the blood tree will also kill players from the dark camp if they encounter them. After some observation, Yuchen discovered that the blood tree and the octopus king had similar abilities. King Octopus has a lot of tentacles, and the blood tree has a lot of branches. The tentacles can be whipped, and the branches can be whipped as well, and the damage is about the same. In addition, after the blood tree is whipped with branches, it can be further entangled and then suck blood. The setting is similar to that of the Octopus King. The Octopus King has one more crazy beating skill, while the blood tree has flying red leaves. Yuchen thought to himself. Red leaves are flying, and the blood tree will throw away all the red leaves on its body in an instant, which is also a group attack damage. Combined as a whole, it is indeed very similar to the Octopus King. Of course, the blood tree is not a pet, and it has an absolute advantage in HP. What's more, the real strength of the blood tree is not only its combat power, but also its feedback power. More than 10 minutes later, Yechen came to the 4th level area of the Death Forest. Along the way, Yechen and the blood tree killed many players from the dark camp and won hundreds of merits. Now he is a major, and his merits have reached more than 200,000 points. For a lieutenant colonel, 500,000 merits are required. In other words, Yechen still needs to kill 300,000 players from the dark camp before he can be promoted to lieutenant colonel. In fact, this is not the case, because among these 300,000 players, there will be more or less officers. If you kill an officer, there will be a certain increase. For example, if you kill a second lieutenant, you can get 100 merits. Lieutenant, get 150 merits. Captain, get 300 merits. Major, get 500 points of merit. Similarly, if a second lieutenant, or even a general or marshal is killed by the enemy, the corresponding merit will be deducted. When the merit is not enough, it will be automatically demoted.